Hello. Welcome to Carla Astrology. Today, I have my daughter Faith with me.
Hi, everyone.
So, Faith, tell everybody how old you are.
I am 23 years old.
Yeah, she's not my youngest baby, but she's my baby. So, I thought I would have you on today because I've talked about you quite a bit. We have a couple people here. Faith, I'm going to tell you this is Carol. She's a very, very good friend of mine.
Hi, Carol.
Practical Mystic Carol, and very true to the name that she has chosen. We have my friend Farah. I talk to Farah a lot. Thank you so much for joining me today, ladies. Rhiannon, another very good friend of mine that I talk to periodically. We also have B and Akali Sunflower, and she has a very good channel, by the way, Faith. You would love it. All these ladies have very good channels if you ever get a chance to look at them. So Faith has she's been very, very gifted pretty much since, I can remember. She's been able to like had help with finding things from the other side. Like she's used to see spirits, but I think
They're very few anymore. I mean,
it was kind of. Can you remember your very first experience, Faith?
Actually, I can. I remember the very first thing that I ever remember, like as far as that goes.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't have been older than 5. I could have been 4 even.
Oops.
As I know I was really young though. And you would just come home from work and me and Tate were asleep on the bed and you came in to sleep next to us. And I opened my eyes and I was looking out the window because the window was right in front of our bed. And there, I swear on everything, there was just this big gorilla-like figure. Like it looked like a gorilla, but I couldn't see like its defined features. That was the vibe it gave off to me. And it was just sitting outside of the window staring at me. And I remember getting this feeling that like if I looked away, it was going to disappear.
Yeah.
So I kept trying to get your attention, and no matter what, you would not budge, you would not move, nothing, until I looked at you, and then you were like, "What?" And then I knew. We looked back, and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And that was the very first experience I ever had with supernatural.
Do you think that it might have been like? Do you think it had like what we would call Bigfoot now features like that?
Yes and no, because it was black. It wasn't like most of the time when I hear of Bigfoot, I haven't really done a whole lot of research into Bigfoot, but they're more like brown and lighter colored.
Well, I had a gig that night, right? I had played a show and came home after the show, so it was like probably wee hours of the morning.
It was light out when you.
Oh, it was light out?
Light out, yeah. It was the sun was just coming up, and this thing was like crouched over, like right out front, just crouched over.
Oh wow, okay. Huh.
And my brain even was like, well, maybe it was a bush, but it couldn't have been because when I looked back, it was gone.
Gone. Yeah. Huh. That's extremely interesting. And I know, like, from talking to your dad and Angie, that you actually seen a lot of things in their home. And I think you've seen things in our home too, like after that, because I remember you telling me, like, interesting people that would like sit next to us.
Yeah, there was this one when my father came back around into our lives again. We were living with them for a little bit with Angie and Dad, and there was like this man. But the weird thing was, like, I saw him other places too. I saw him at your house too.
So maybe he was somebody that was maybe following you, kind of.
Yeah, but he went away. I remember like getting angry, and because like he was like scary to me, and I was like, "Go away, go away." And then I
So
never.
that you were afraid of seeing stuff like that.
Well, he was this tall man, and half of his face was missing.
Ah,
And he wore a flannel, and he looked like he was like an old timey farmer. It was unsettling.
yeah. So you, over the years, you would kind of like block it out, you think?
Yes and no. I mean, I know that when I'm really stressed out, yeah, it blocks out. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I'm too in here to really pay attention to my surroundings. But when I'm calm and I'm focused, uh, and I start noticing, it's like a little tingle up the back of my spine. Like I'll know like something's there. Just a week ago, I think I was standing out in my kitchen and saw a tall figure pacing through the back of my hallway. And I had lights on, so
So Carol asks, like, when you seen the tall man, she was wanting to know if it occurred in an older home with some type of history. But like you had said, it happened at your dad's. That was an older home, but it also happened in the trailer that we lived in,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. There was something that belonged to that home, but I don't think it was the creature that I was seeing. The man.
Right. You mean at your dad's, when you were at your dad's?
Yeah, the one that where Angie actually currently still stays.
Right.
There's a little girl that lives there.
Oh, wow. Who was it that helped you find things? Do you remember that?
Oh, that one's really weird. I was living on Stamp, and
It's my grandbaby too, Lola.
thank you, honey. Um, we were living on Stamp, and I remember waking up, and there was like this entity
Hmm.
like on the end of my bed, and I kept noticing it, and it kind of lingered around my stepmother at the time,
Hmm.
and it would talk to me sometimes, and like it was just like in a feeling kind of way, and like an eerie way. And then there were times that I would see this entity, like when I would go to the bathroom and shut the mirror, I would see him like in a corner looking at
Oh,
me.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would have dreams about him, and come to find out that this person, like when they they told me how they passed and everything.
Oh, okay.
When I had talked about it openly, it turned out that that person Angie thought was her brother.
Right.
And yeah, there would be times where like we had ferrets at the time, and I would just like know where they were because he would help me. It would be like I would see like things open or move, and
Okay. So he was like directing you.
I almost kind of felt like in a way he was playing, like
Playing with you?
yeah, like maybe he was hiding things.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's possible. So, in your words, Faith, what do you think it is that about you that is like makes it so that you are kind of tapped into these kind of things? Do you have an idea?
Um,
I'm not putting you on the spot. I was just wondering if you ever thought about why.
I mean, I've never really thought about why. I think it would just be because I have a different way about thinking of things, or because I don't want to say it's because I'm open-minded. You could be an open-minded person and still not really believe in that.
Right.
Um, I'm not really sure. It's just something that's always been there. I've never really thought too much into it.
Well, I believe like I'm going to tell the story of when I was pregnant with you. And actually, I'm going to go back a little bit. When I was, it was before I got pregnant with you. Your dad and I were having a pretty rough patch. And I decided that I was going to have a long talk with God and, help me sort out ways to like help your dad and I work things out. And in my mind, something told me that had to be to have another child. We had already had Michaela, and which, looking back now, I think, what the heck was it thinking? As far as like to help your dad and I, but you were definitely a gift because in my mind, I knew exactly that I was going to get a gift. And it happened that very night. And while I was pregnant with you, I had dreams of you. And in the dream, you were crawling out of the ocean. Like I was standing on a beach. It's bright and sunny. And I look to the ocean, and here you come crawling out. And you stand up, and you are this bald, beautiful baby with the biggest blue eyes, like they took up your whole head almost. um, and you stood up and you were just like, ta-da, I'm here, I'm your gift. And then when you were born, actually, like not really when you were born, I'd say 8, 9 months old, you started to look exactly like the baby from my dream. And it's like things just kind of dawn on you as time goes. But that's where your namesake came, was Faith, because I knew exactly how you were conceived and blah 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 and why. And it was because I was very religious, spiritual at that time. And so I knew that you were directly a gift from that higher dimension. So it's like, and then you started showing signs of having these gifts. I mean, and you were always afraid of the gift, obviously. But you also had an experience that was very similar to my own with extraterrestrial type thing, or was it? I don't know, but tell everybody about that.
So when I was like 11, 10 or 11. I was young. We moved to this house in Elkhart, and it was a very old house.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very old. And I had multitudes of experiences in this house. I used to have dreams about like being stuck in that basement, and that basement, for one, is one of the creepiest basements I've ever seen, or like, had the pleasure to be around. Had another room behind this like brick wall, and there was no door on this brick wall, but it was broken down, looked like it had been demolished at one point.
Yeah.
Again, there was just a bunch of like loose bricks, and behind that was a like little room inside a little room, and lock on the outside of the door.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Inside, because you could only see like little cracks and stuff in there, and I think it had a window too, actually, like a little cutout in the cement, and you see a little chair in there.
Oh my goodness. Farah asks, why is it always a basement? Don't go down there.
Yeah. But we had our first bedroom there on the first floor, because there were 2 stories to this, not counting the basement.
Okay.
And me and my little sister had bunk beds, and I was on the top bunk. And in this bedroom, we had 2 doors that you just pushed open. They didn't have handles or anything. And then we had another door on the side that connected to a bathroom that was underneath our stairs. And that bathroom had 2 doors. So you could come in from our dining room into this bathroom and then into our bedroom. So my dad usually would get up in the morning and he would make coffee, and that's how I would know he was up, is because I would smell a cigarette and coffee. And then he would turn on the bathroom light, go to the bathroom, and then he would wake us up for school. And this morning I woke up and it was really weird. I felt like I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. And I started to get really cold, sweaty. I couldn't say anything, couldn't open my mouth. And like, I couldn't see anything. And every time that I did try to move, I kept hearing like a growl. I could feel it on my legs too. And then like it was like heavy. I almost felt like I had like a raccoon on me. Like I remember asking.
I remember, yes.
Like I thought it was a raccoon. And I was super scared about it because they were just like on my legs. And then as soon as my dad opened up the bathroom door to get us up for school, I felt it run off of me and saw it go into our closet. I made my dad look in there immediately.
Uh-huh.
I know you have to look in that closet. He was like, oh, you probably just had a nightmare. And I was like, I was awake. You need to look in there. And he looked in and there was nothing in there. Like I got down off my bed, staring the whole time, and walked over to it and like turned on the light and was like ripping shit out of that closet, because I was like, no way. And I made him stand right there. And I was like, no, you're going to stand right here because I know this thing is in here. And there was nothing.
You know, that makes it very hard when the parent doesn't really believe.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure that affected you as far as like, you know, you felt kind of maybe alone.
Yeah, because most of the time that I spent was, unfortunately, it was like more spent there because
I know.
school from there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Angie sometimes would be there for me with it, but Dad was like scared of it.
I think that's a lot of what it is. That's a lot of what it is. And I feel like your story in itself, if other people are watching it and say, I mean, I know we like what you do with Lola is like you tell her that you guys can beat up the monsters and so that she never has to be afraid. Because I think that children do naturally have more of an ability to see things because they're not conditioned to realize that it's either make believe or like it's their imagination, until the parent says, "Oh, it's just your imagination," or it is, you're not seeing that because the child is afraid. We turn that off, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that I think that that's what happens, and then those abilities are either a child is either going to develop them more or they're going to shut them down, depending on how the parents believe. And I think that your story, you struggled because you had me that was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And then you have your dad that's like, oh no, that's not happening.
Yeah. He sat me down one time and was like, I'm not saying I don't believe, I'm just saying I don't understand. And I remember that. It was actually in that house because I kept seeing a whole bunch of stuff in there and I kept having so many nightmares. And hold on.
Fine.
My significant other is just being a goof.
Is he? Oh, that's a surprise.
But yes, he sat me down while I was.
She thought that was a hat that you were wearing, but it's the wreath behind you.
Oh,
I know that would definitely be an amazing hat.
Oh, I'm just.
This is April, by the way. Hi, April. Thank you.
Yeah, no, this is just a lovely piece of our home.
And we also had Mimi join us from Mimi's Tarot and Gems. So, and this is April. So, like I said, Faith, if you get a chance to watch this, to watch the playback, take a look at all these channels of the ladies that are talking in chat.
Yeah,
they're wonderful. You'll love them. Faith likes tarot.
I do. I love tarot. I haven't been doing it lately, so I've had a lot going on. But I do plan to get back into it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like you're under pressure to. Have you learned your tarot yet, Faith?
No.
It takes time. I mean, look at your mama. I mean, I am very much a novice, but I am learning every day. I think a lot of us we still are learning every day because there's a lot of stuff that goes into tarot. But Faith and I have a lot of chats like about, I mean, both think outside the box. And there was something that she said to me the other day that I found extremely interesting. And I had to look it up just to make sure that, that
it was solid.
Right. You know what I'm talking about, right? You want to, we were talking about, for one, women and this whole like how we identify and everybody identifies. Everyone is a female before they are a male, and she's right.
Phenotypically, everyone starts off in the womb as phenotypically female. So then we start talking about, well, then the anomaly would
another April.
Hi. The anomaly would definitely be males.
Yeah.
So then
Yes.
started talking about how then our species, we're not apex. I don't believe, at least this is my theory. I believe that we're not apex and we will become apex when we unify as one. Because with males being the anomaly, eventually, um, once we get over some, what do I want to call it? Bumps?
Yeah. Yeah. It's that whole the feminine energy rising is because even though male have been dominating our whatever you want to call it, maybe that's the government or whatever, they've
Right.
dominated in the power aspect.
Right. I think it's the block mentally because women need the testosterone. We need more of that in us, and men need more feminine
Mhm.
in them.
Yeah,
So,
because you have a theory. What is your theory that if we start thinking alike as far as the male and the female species?
yeah, if we start compromising more and like once we come to a point in life where it's easy, because right now it's not easy. I think that's going to be like generations and generations before men and women are going to be able to look at each other and be on the same wavelength with each other. So until then, because it's not just them, it's us too. We've all got to like be able to get along on a certain wavelength and put differences aside in order to become and start becoming apex, where we will be both genders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, you are very observant and you attract people that like know that. Yeah, real quick, Faith, we had some more people. Another lady, my friend Ginger Faye, she's joining us. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. I hope I'm glad that you're here to meet my daughter. She's a very interesting young lady. So you were thinking that with the uh just what I'm looking at the chat. Can you see the chat, Faith?
Yes, I can actually.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, if you want to address anything, go ahead. And yeah, she is beautiful. My baby. Um, so like you were thinking that we might see that type of like more like evolving into a uh like we would be one sex.
Yeah,
Or maybe, so what do they call that?
intersex.
Okay.
Intersex.
Okay. And you think that because that so obviously, I mean, it is like it starts here in our thinking. So, and we are evolving, you know. I think I can hop on that theory. I could see that. I've actually heard or read articles where they feel like we are heading evolving into that type of a species where we are both. And you actually went to school with we won't name names.
Yeah.
And
I was like, I don't want to name names because.
mhm. But this individual, this young person was both. And how did this person identify? Do you remember?
More male. This person identified more male. They have more male characteristics.
Was it
I haven't seen this person in a really long time though, so I don't know how they look now. We were kids then. I was in elementary, but they did have more male features.
And how did you feel about it? I mean, how did you feel about this person?
I'm not gonna lie, and I feel kind of like bad for feeling this way, but you know, I can't control how I feel about things sometimes.
Right.
Um,
I don't mean to put you on the spot. I was just wondering how they made you feel, their energy.
it was just a little uncomfortable, but like I wanted to know more. You know, I really did want to know more. Actually, I remember like asking this person in particular about them, and they were a little uncomfortable about talking about it, but they did talk to me a lot about how they got bullied because of it, because people didn't understand. And one of the toughest parts was they couldn't hide that because they had to go to a specific bathroom. And kids would notice that and they would pick on them because of that, because anything that's a not normal, an anomaly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like, for myself, it's like I don't connect with somebody with their physical self. I always connect here. And I feel like that would be such a wonderful thing just to be able to if we were all on the same page. It's not like, I mean, I wish we were, and I feel like we are getting closer to that. And but it's hard when you're a child, and you know, because of how we've been conditioned, that's identified as being out of the norm. So people are like, "Oh, look at that," and it's no, that needs to be like, okay, well, I mean, that happens. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's beautiful. Things that are rare are beautiful. So
They really are. If you think about it in nature, we try to preserve those things now,
yes. Yeah.
but because of the social stigma amongst
Mhm.
our personal society from like person to person,
Mhm.
it's not the case here. Some people are trying to, you know, push that way of thinking, but there is still so much hate. And unfortunately, even a platform like this is one of those things that's starting to break people, because you'll see things like one of my favorite quotes ever is a quote by Kevin Gates. He is a famous rapper, and he says, hold on, let me grab it for you real quick.
Okay. Yeah, this what you guys are talking about in chat, I find it so interesting. I mean, no matter what, knowing that we start out as female, and I love what you had said, April, about your husband jokes about missing half of a chromosome. It's like, yeah. So, I mean, to me, that says so much about our whole entire race. It's not, nothing is as it looks physically.
No,
It's nothing. There's so much more to us, and for people to want to bicker back and forth about gender, and we just don't have a clue, and it should never be about physical, and I'm just, that's just my opinion. But
Kevin, the quote, he says, I took a break from social media because it was really causing depression. I guess it's not really like a quote, it is something he said, but it was from an interview he had. And the guy goes, why depression? And he goes, because comparison is the killer of all joy. All people do is post their highlight reels, and I'm comparing my real life to someone's highlight reel. And that is something that speaks volumes to me, because that's all anybody does. You're always constantly sitting there posting pictures of your vacation, for example, your vacation to Florida, and you could just sit there and post a couple pictures and not post a caption, and
right.
anyone else looking at that is going to be like, oh man, I wish that was my life. I wish I could live like that. God, that would be so wonderful. But for one, the grass is never greener on the other side. The grass is only ever greener where you water it. So if you want that life, quit getting on social media and being all boo-hoo about it, and get up and do something about it. Your phone is getting on your phone and crying about what you do and don't have. It's not going to help you. That's about as pointless as going to somebody else and complaining about your problems. Like if you have a problem with someone else, and you, like, say you got a problem with your dad and you go to your mom about it. That's about as pointless as that, because
It's hard.
yeah, you're not solving anything by just getting on your phone.
I just I wanted to point out something. Carol had mentioned that in the tarot, the Fool is a hermaphrodite. And then Farah said, and the Fool is in the World card. So on the World card too. And I think that, I mean, I don't know how much you've dug into tarot, Faith, but the tarot is a very, it's a spiritual path. If you're learning it, you know that it is directly related to the tree of life, So, and that to me is so significant, because our spiritual path doesn't have anything to do with our sex either. We are male and female. We are male and female. It's actually one of the Hermetic principles. We are both.
Mm-hmm.
So I am just, this is such a great chat. And I love what you said. Oh, that's interesting too. Very interesting.
Yes,
So,
transgender is different to intersex. Transgender is where you feel like you are someone else. You feel like you are a different sex, and so you yourself take the change to become that sex. You were born a different sex, and you go to make the change to become a different sex. That is transgender. Intersex is being born with both, which is what I'm talking about. Yeah, I feel like the
hi,
only
Maria.
going to be able to reach apex is by breaking those barriers between men and women. That is what will really, women have a lot of growing to do as men do. I don't believe we're mentally there yet either. We're it takes two to tango kind of thing.
Yeah. I have a, it's a very controversial subject. So, most of the times I keep my opinions to myself, but I do believe that we are male and female, period. So, I mean, I feel like I don't personally care. I don't take it upon myself to care about how someone else identifies. It doesn't bother me. I just want people to embrace humanity.
Yep.
And be who we are. And that's just,
Well, as long as you're happy with yourself, then that's all that matters.
yeah, why would you want to make somebody unhappy with themselves?
Exactly. If you're not happy about something, it's within yourself.
Farah says, Faith, most of us grew up barely talking about homosexuality, and that is correct. That is, yeah. I mean, it's hard because, I remember, and I'm going to be straight honest. I remember watching a show. I couldn't even tell you what it was, but it was like the first time I had seen any type of homosexuality, and it included between two women or two men. But I felt very uncomfortable watching it. And it was because I didn't know anything about it. And then I remember when the AIDS epidemic first hit our hometown, and one of the hairdressers in the town, everybody loved him, and they knew that he was, he had a male companion. Nobody, it was real. I mean, everybody loved him, but he was like the only one that we knew of in our little small town. So when the AIDS epidemic came around, he did get it, and then there was so much stigma put on, and it was horrendous. Looking back now, and I think
Well,
I felt horrible for the things that he had to go through.
have it is really horrible, and I believe one of the things that we really need to get more comfortable with that will help us get to, a bigger revelation, is women becoming more comfortable and men becoming more comfortable with women getting in touch with their masculinity side, and women and men becoming more comfortable with men getting in touch with their feminine side, because there is so much stigma behind that. So much. If a guy wants to go and like paint his nails, they're instantly so much hate for that. So much hate for that. If a guy wants to grow his hair out, I can't tell you how many times I've heard like mean comments from even that some people who are very stuck in their ways,
Mhm.
who are like, cut your hair, that doesn't look right, or don't paint your nails.
Yeah, well,
What other people will say, or getting just in general being afraid to show that because nobody else shows that. And anytime it's ever talked about, it's never in a positive light.
yeah.
Very rarely that it's talked about in a positive light. And it's the same with women. I mean, it's starting to even get to a point where like women are actually more talked about in a positive light when it comes to that. So
Oh, yes.
I guess in that light, it's
I do too, April. I do too. I remember that. Well, Faith, I wanted to I wanted to say something. You realize that your mama was in rock bands when she was, younger than you even, and my bandmates teased their long hair. They wore eyeliner and they wore nail polish, but they weren't. They were probably called some names, because we were different then. But yeah, exactly like Maria said, they had big hair and eyeliner and all. And I'm telling you, I thought they were gorgeous men that did that, and they wore, the spandex and oh my goodness, your mama just
but,
loved that stuff. I was like,
but
oh
what did the other guys say about that? Like, yeah, we were probably accepting of it. I could see what you're saying there, but
yeah.
what would a Bob said about that? Huh? What would your dad? What would have?
Okay, I'm going to tell you because you know that Bob is very conservative. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so but I love him. He has a heart of gold, okay? But I'm going to tell you that he wishes now, because he sees that and he knows what I was attracted to, and I see it now and I still think, "Oh, that's beautiful," I just anybody that is able to express themselves, and I fall in love with it because I feel like, please express yourself, I love it. But he loved hair, and he has a little trouble growing that type of hair. He always has. And but he admired that, and he still does to this day. He'll be like, he'll see some young man with that hair and he'll go, "Man, look at the hair on that man." I'm like, hallelujah. you know so I mean, I'm just,
Yeah,
he has things that he don't agree with, but
Bob, watch this. We love you. We love you, and I'm not laughing. I promise. I'm not not mean.
yeah. Yeah. He probably won't watch this.
You better hope. I
Yeah.
don't do this.
Well, April is leaving. Thank you so much. I
Oh,
really appreciate you showing here today. That's awesome.
it was really nice to meet you as well.
Oh, and Yes, yes. Oh, Farah says to cool myself. Whew,
Oh.
yeah, I'm telling you, man. Um,
They had groupies everywhere, and they were hot back then. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's still that way now. I mean, there are bands out there who are rocking the long hair and mullets and stuff, and
yeah. And what
I,
about emo, Faith?
I don't want to talk about that.
Because you
There are
were very emo at one point.
there are phases that people go through.
Yeah, of
Okay?
course. Of
There are,
course.
you phase in and out of that.
Yeah.
We don't acknowledge that. At least I don't. I try not to. I try not to think about that.
Yeah, but you looked really good, emo. Your hair, and she has these big blue eyes, so when she would dye her hair black or blue, her eyes would just like pop. There they are. So I was like, yeah, I don't she looks great. I
I would
love it.
go with my hair.
The only part was the like when you comb it forward. This
Oh God.
Does that look familiar?
Yeah, like I think every girl and guy has done that
Yep, yep.
life. Like if you go far back enough in their photos, you'll find that picture. It's that one where it's like real close and they've got the dark eyeliner on and like everything's all black in their photo. They're wearing a band tee and they've got like a few band bracelets on. They're all, oh, my life sucks.
Well, we can stereotype, but it's it
No,
was
that's me, like legitimately.
yeah,
I could probably go pull out a photo right now.
yeah. It was fun. It was fun.
Fun. I dyed for several different times and then one day woke up and it didn't sit right and I cut it all off.
That's funny. April says she went through a goth phase. And goth is something that is I love that. I see it today and it's gorgeous. The styles.
Some of it I like, but I tried that once in my life and quickly realized that like goth, I don't feel like looks good on me. I'm not gonna, like I've seen other people, even thicker people, be able to pull it off just fine. But
Yeah.
I think it's the combination of the fact that I'm like 5 foot nothing and thick. So when I go to put on those big ass stiletto boots, it looks really weird. It's not, and not in like a pretty kind of weird, because like when you see other people, like even the thicker people who like wear those boots, they've got long legs, man, and they walk around like Patrick, man. They're like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish I could do that, but it just doesn't look like that on me.
Yeah, we do kind of wish that sometimes with like, "Ooh, I wonder if I could pull that off." Nope.
Yeah, and I always now I just don't even like, I'll look at it and I'll be like, man, it'd be cool. I used
Mhm.
to, like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy this. Don't do that. Don't buy it before you try it on. Don't.
Yeah. I usually would save the goth, and it seemed like every year at Halloween, I always associate it with like a vampire type look,
Yeah.
and I loved that. I would usually go for something either witchy or vampire at
Yeah.
Halloween, and it would be kind of, real dark and
I remember, I think your guys' best costume ever, the best one I've ever seen you guys wear, was the one where you and Bob went as Kiss.
oh yeah. Yeah.
That was, you guys pulled that off so well.
Yeah.
So
He
well.
he
Bob,
looked like Paul Stanley.
yes,
He
he
looked like the Star Child. Yeah.
yes, he did. And you look so good too. Oh my God.
Yeah, I did uh Gene Simmons, the demon. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
fun. It was
That,
fun
you
role
guys,
playing that.
wasn't that the one where Boopy went as like half, where she had like half girl and then like half
She was male and female. Maybe. She always comes up with some good ones. Halloween is my favorite, so
I love Halloween. I always try to come up with like my outfits are never really extravagant. It's usually my makeup. So that's my
mhm.
there. I could really pull off some really wicked makeup.
I know you can. Your makeup is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of got onto like, yeah, which is good. I love talking about all of it. But there's other little rabbit holes that you love to go down.
There's one actually that I do want to go down. Um, and prepare yourselves.
Okay.
It's one you and I already talked about. Funny one. But we talked about how what if one day everybody just woke up and did everything the same, didn't talk about it, didn't say anything about it, but didn't vote. Just woke up and didn't vote.
I know.
How much do you want to bet that you would still wake up that next morning with a president?
And why do you think that is?
Just honestly, I'm gonna be real honest with you. It's not. I don't really have any solid proof behind that other than a gut feeling, just based upon things that's already happened with our government
Yeah.
and stuff from us. I just one of those I wouldn't put it past them kind of thing, you know. But it would be an interesting thing to do.
If we could get everybody on board just to see what would happen. Yeah, to be like, yeah, I wonder what would happen if nobody voted.
Yep. Everybody just woke up one morning, didn't say shit about it, and just
find out who's really electing our officials, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And just nobody say
That would be an interesting experiment.
Yeah. And my mother and I were talking about this earlier, said we should write a song because music is the best way, I feel like, to get that message out there. Because how many times, like Rage Against the Machine, say you're listening to one of those songs and you're just rocking out and you're like, yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna do what they tell me. And like you just you start rocking out because they're saying this message that like speaks to you and you're like, yeah, fight the man, fight that power. And we were just making jokes about it, just wake up, start writing a song about don't vote tomorrow. You'll still wake up with the president, I bet.
Man, have you heard that new song? You are right, though. Music is very influential. It's yeah. Yeah. And there are some bands that just they don't ever make it because they're so controversial in their lyrics. Because that's another thing that social media does. They if it does not fit an agenda, it will be taken off.
Right, but you know what what always fits the agenda? Comedy.
Yeah.
Everybody always wants to laugh, and I've heard a bunch of songs and people always know these songs, but they have a political agenda.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
People sitting there trying to come out with like really funny songs, but they're political. And you're like, fuck yeah. And a lot of people know those songs. So maybe if you just make songs with a funny connotation, everybody will listen to it. Get that laughter, because laughter is the best way. I swear. You could kill anything with laughter.
Yep. And then you can always pull it off like, I was just joking.
You're laughing the whole time. What do you
mean? Don't take me seriously. I'm just joking. Yep. Don't vote, though. Just kidding. See, I just did that. Anyway. But there's more than that. I mean, I have a podcast that I do, and it is for the more controversial topics that that aren't really associated with Carla astrology. But I sometimes I find those little rabbit holes on TikTok. And I know you did too. What was that? You had actually dreamt about uh an island or something?
No. And this actually wasn't about TikTok. It was about Google Earth. One of the things I used to have a phone. I just put this out there. I lost it last year while I was fishing, and I still don't have one. But when I had one, I would just sit there, and in my free time, I would get on
Maybe.
Earth, and I would just, they have these little blue dots on Google Earth. You spin the globe, and you zoom in, and you can click on any little blue dot, and it'll show you like real time a 3D picture, where like you can spin it around and look at everything there. And it's just interesting. So I would just do that randomly. I would pick random coordinates around the globe, and I would just look at places because it's fun to do. It's like a vacation in my head. Yeah, I'm sitting here and there's like 6 inches of snow outside, but I can get on Google Earth and go look at sunny fucking Jamaica or something, and pretend that I'm sitting on a sandbar because that's nice. But
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
one day I was doing stuff like that, and I had fallen asleep, and I closed out of everything, and I used to have these weird dreams where I was on these isles of sand, and it looked like there were like little bits of ocean that were next to me, and I just like, it seemed like no place I had ever seen or heard about before. And I went to go get onto my phone onto Google Earth, and it opened up on a spot that I was not on. Like, I didn't look up this spot, didn't drop the pin down there, so I was very confused.
Right.
And I'm like just looking around because it was already in the 3D picture, and just looking around it, and I'm like, this looks so familiar. Like, so familiar. And I keep thinking about it, and my brain's like, it looks like that dream you had. And I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, this is so weird. I'm like, where is this at? And so I zoom out, and it's the Dead Sea. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because I've heard about the Dead Sea before, and
Mm-hmm.
heard the stories that have come from that, and the dreams that I have had there are weird. And it's so weird because I had no idea that the Dead Sea even looked like that. And I had been dreaming about it like all my life, having dreams about this place where I'm like walking down these aisles of sand. And and just the other day, I actually had another where Coda and I were sitting and talking, and I was talking to him about a reoccurring dream like that I used to have in another place similar to that. And he goes, I know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yeah, the Everglades in Florida. I would have dreams about riding around in this Jeep, and we're like going on these like almost through like swamplands, and there's like barely any road. And the way I described it to him, he's like, it sounds like the Everglades. I've never been there. And I kind of I've seen pictures of it, so maybe I had dreams about it when I was a kid because I watched a movie or something about it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I've always had dreams about that, like physically being there. And it was so weird. So weird. But the Dead Sea, I've never, that I can call to any recollection.
Well, Maria says it's possible parallel lives, which I think we do have parallel lives that are happening like simultaneously.
Yeah.
And Farah says you seem very curious, and you are. I know you are. Like you yourself personally, do you believe in past lives, or like what Maria was talking about, parallel lives? Do you believe in anything like that, sis?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so for one, I have so many views on this. For one, I definitely believe that we exist on multiple planes. We can only see up to 5 of those planes. And I also believe that, like, it's almost like a thing within a thing. So we have several planes of existences just in this timeline, in this existence. But there are ones that are like parallel to ours. This is just my belief.
Mm-hmm.
There are other ones that are parallel to ours. Actually, that there is a symbol that is much like this. It's more like this, and there goes through it, that symbolizes 2 parallel universes.
Oh, okay.
So it could be another existence that is exactly like ours, but when we experience things like the Mandela effect and deja vu, it is where those existences on a whole different scale are leaking into our existence. And some of us don't even realize it, but there are literal things that everybody as a collective can remember, and one of the most famous ones is the Berenstain Bears.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the spelling.
Yeah, actually, honey, do you know where Lola's Berenstain book is?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it's in her room.
Okay. Yeah, Lola has one, and I was looking at it the other day, and it is spelled AIN, but I know everybody remembers it being spelled EIN.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've seen some videos that are highly speculated, because it's one of those things like there's no way, especially just only seeing it through your phone. You're like, that is definitely digitally fucked with. Somebody messed with that. But then there's that other little part of your brain that's like, maybe.
Do you remember watching Snow White, the Disney movie, the anime, where the queen looks into the mirror and she says, do you remember what she says?
She says, mirror, mirror.
If you look now, it says magic mirror. But I'm pretty sure she had always said mirror, mirror on the wall.
There are also other phrases that were like, people remember that too, where I think there's another one where it's supposed to be mirror, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? And then I think that's what we all remember, but it's actually something else.
So you believe that like the Mandela effect is like a universe collapsing onto ours? Overlap of sorts?
I believe that our worlds are slowly leaking into each other. When you have deja vu, I've had really vivid deja vu moments where it's almost like I have a deja vu moment where something different happened. It feels like a memory of like where I'm sitting in this moment and I remember that in about like 2 seconds, this thing's going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. And it's really weird. Like I'm looking around and I'm like, I've been here. I've been in this moment before. Yeah, because this is going to happen. And then it doesn't happen. And I'm like, like, that's not normal. But I'm not normal. So
there's a lot of weird things with that Mandela. I'd say 50% might be trick of memory. Like, somebody thinks that it might have been a different type of memory, but there are some things that are just not explained. And I think it's a generational thing too, because of, you know, maybe when we were born, depending on, you know, how much of that had leaked in by that time.
Right. One is the Curious George.
Oh, with the tail?
Yep. We all remember him having a tail, and apparently he never did.
Right.
There's
Oh my gosh, Maria, me too. Me too, definitely. But now, yeah, there's so many. You know, JFK's the vehicle he was in had only 2 seats, but it's remembered, or it's, you could see photographs with 3.
Yep.
Barr says there is a saying, to be considered normal in an abnormal world is nothing to be proud of. I like that.
Look, that there's the Looney Tunes one where everybody remembers it being spelled tunes with 2 O's. But
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what Maria was. Yeah.
Yep.
And now I always remembered the 2 O's, and now it's TUNES.
Oh, the Sex in the City is actually Sex and the City.
Right, and I always remembered Sex in the City.
Yep, me too.
Yeah. There's a lot of them. That Mandela thing is kind of spooky.
Oh yeah,
Because,
Oscar Mayer, we always remember being spelled Meyer. And
yeah.
it's spelled Mayer.
Huh. Yeah, because I used to sing that all the time. Oh, I love to eat it every day. And if you ask me why, I'll say, because OSCA, or something now. Oh, no, maybe it was just I spelled baloney. Something like that. But anyway.
Speaking of bologna, left the bologna in the cabinet this morning. Or last night, he made himself a bologna sandwich and left the bologna in the cabinet with the bread in the fridge. And I found it this morning, and I was like...
Because you thought it was the fridge. So you want to play some word association real quick, Faith?
Sure.
All right. You know, I'm going to say a word, and you just say the first word that comes to your mind.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
Butterfly.
Insect.
Okay. Water.
Birth.
Okay. Car.
Drive.
Okay. Power.
Control.
Yeah. And spirit.
Yourself.
Self. I love that. Cool. Right on. You passed the test. No, I'm just kidding. No test, honey.
Now.
It's just interesting. It, tells where people's minds are. Like, in the moment.
Yeah.
So, Farah wants to know, why are they effing with us? Me too, Farah. I would love, but I think I know the why. And Maria says, I wonder how much of the shift of the magnetic poles influences our brains and the things we experience. Yeah. Yes. What do you think about that, Faith?
Well, I believe there is a lot in that. For one, fun little fact, everything is always moving all the time. Did you know they move?
That is correct.
Like 2 centimeters every year. They move. Their roots just slowly crawl all over our world, and they're all connected underneath. And I think that everything moves based upon energy, I believe, you know.
Yes. That's a hermetic principle also. Yes.
So if we have two large things that shift a bunch of energy, our energies are going to shift with that as well. Because I believe that our energies are a little bit magnetic to that. They have like a gravitational pull almost. You ever notice how when anything, if we start getting riled up, bigger things with our earth happen. You ever notice that? Like if we go into civil wars and shit like that, like oh man, what was it? It was something I was reading about how we went through a really big war and then a shit ton of volcanoes just started going off. Just a bunch of them all over the world. A bunch of them just started going off. And
What do you think that? Why do you think that is?
because of energy, our energies start raising. We produce energy, and then that coincides with the energy that we're putting back into the world as well.
So, what would somebody's agenda be to cause division in the world? Why would somebody want to do that? Say if they were in a position of power where the things that they say are very influential. Why would somebody in a position like that want to cause division in the world?
Because I feel like, for one, just, I've only met a couple politicians, and yeah, I kind of feel like they're a little weird in my opinion. I've talked to a few of them, and they're very fake. What?
Oh, I overheard that question. Okay?
Yeah. What?
I think that the reason that people would want to cause division that are in a higher spot of power is because it is easier to control an unorganized group of people as compared to trying to control an organized and unified group of people.
Yeah. I don't know
And
that.
just like you had said, Faith, if we're fighting with each other, the energy that we are emanating is a very it will attract negative things. Like if we are in that state of mind where we are like constantly angry or upset because of the things we see on social media, or so somebody's not fighting enough for something, or somebody is fighting too much for something, that's the extremity that, like Maria says, divide and conquer in the world. And we all know this. In 2021, the world was burning and flooding all over the place. I remember looking up on the world map how many wildfires there were.
Mm-hmm.
And it was out of control. The world, and again with the flooding. And you remember what 2020 was like. If we weren't in our homes, we were fighting. We were a bunch of keyboard warriors. That's what we were. But we weren't spreading love. You know what I mean?
Oh.
So, and like Dakota said, it made it easier to control
A broken community of people, because
we were
one thing you always do when you're broken, even personally, on a personal level, you get broken, someone breaks your heart, what do? You don't pick yourself back up unless you have nobody. You always look to somebody else's guidance.
Yes.
So a broken world means you're always going to be looking for that figure. And that looks, to some of us, I'm not saying all of us, I feel like a lot of us are starting to, not feel really safe anymore. But a lot of us feel that security. We're like, oh yeah, this is the, you know, people find security though also in familiarity, and we've always, as long as we have lived, as long as you have lived, and as long as I have lived, has had that corrupt in our lives.
Yeah.
Looks to us almost as like a oh, what's the word for it? There's an actual word for it where you become so used to trauma that you look for it, you crave it.
Like
Stockholm syndrome. Everybody's got some fucking Stockholm syndrome. They are used to being treated like this, so they're
Absolutely.
like, I want it more.
That's where shadow work comes into play. And that's how you find out about yourself and why you are okay with certain things. Absolutely. Yes. And that's
that I can say to anybody, and I will always say this, I've been saying it for quite some time now, and I even had to practice what I preach just the other day. Be honest with yourself, most of because if you got, like, if you don't like something, be honest with yourself and be honest with other people about it.
Yeah.
You know, and if you like something, be honest with people about it. If you think it's fun, at least.
It's called being authentic.
Yes, you need to be real. Be 100% you. Go with what your gut says, and voice what your gut says.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't like it. Guess what? Oh well. You don't need them in your life. You are going to find people who are like you. Very few people are going to be like you, and those are the people that you want to keep around. And that's a good thing though, because you don't want an abundance of people. I remember when I had a bunch of people in my life, and it was hard because it felt like I had to constantly be forking out my energy to talk to them. And it was so much. And when I finally started being honest with myself and honest with other people about who I am, what my views are, what my morals are, what I can and can't put up with, all those people left. They left. Bye. Didn't want to deal with me anymore because I stood up for myself. And
absolutely,
I'm so much less anxious about it.
She said chakra work should be taught from a young age. And I agree with that. I've even thought about that, like with the babies, is just getting them introduced to like calming their minds. If there's things that we can do to start with, like some type of a meditation as babies.
Is she sleeping on you? Oh, Lola's laying with Coda. With Lola, I'm trying really hard with that. I'm, as far as like her supernatural, she does see things, and
she's 3.
Yeah, and she'll come up to me and she'll be like, "Mommy, I'm scared. There's a ghost in my room. There's a ghost. I'm scared." And I'll kind of like take it in more of a childish way, because I don't want to like be too adult about it, because she is 3, and I want her to be able to understand that she doesn't have to be afraid of that stuff, and that I will always be there to protect her first and foremost. And so I will go in there and she'll be like, "Mommy, I'm scared," and I will curb stomp the air wherever she tells me that ghost is.
That's good.
Yeah. Me and Kodo go in there, and I'll just drop in elbows, man, on thin air. But it makes her happy and makes her feel relieved, because whatever she thinks, or whatever she is seeing right there, she can see me, letting things know that
I think that's awesome. So she sees that you trust your, and trust is a big thing when it comes to things that we don't understand. We have to be able to trust that we have the power
Yeah, and I wanted her to know that I believed her.
That's awesome. You see, April said that there are chakra books out there for kids now. I think that's awesome.
She,
And then Farah learned to sanitize in during the COVID pandemic.
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I leave my house.
I know.
Right when I had Lola, I was 2019, right before COVID really started setting in, because it was like the end of 2019 and everybody started to get sick and they didn't know it was COVID until 2020. Then they were like, oh, that thing that you guys had, it was all COVID. You're all gonna die. And like,
but it was tough on kids because, like, I remember taking them into the grocery store when we could, and Liam freaked out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because everybody was just so scared then. I bet he could just feel the energy off of other people.
Well, he wasn't used to being around people.
Oh yeah, there's that too.
Or in a building, let alone his home.
Lola is a big people person. Lola, I got lucky with that one. Which is really surprising to me too, because I did not really take her out. When she was born, there was the killer wasp and the killer mosquitoes as well.
Oh my goodness, yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and so it was just terrifying because I had her in May, so it was summer, and I was just so scared to take her outside. I stayed inside all of the time.
Uh-oh.
Honey. Sorry about that.
You're fine. She's thirsty. But the way people behaved with the jab, I know someone who didn't want to get it, and their mom said they're just as bad as a murderer and rapist. Not kidding. Yeah, that's a whole other freaking subject that I was actually having a chat with a few ladies about this, that, you know, the research is not 100%, and it's not going to be 100% for a while. So why would they mandate a vaccine that was proven back when they tried to do it with polio, that took 30 years to perfect to a point where the vaccine itself did not do as much harm as polio did?
Okay, so with that, I've been doing a little bit more research with that, and personally, I'm not gonna go and get the shot because I believe that is what our immune system is built for. Really?
Right. There's a lot of different theories, but why would the government mandate it when it wasn't 100%? So, and just like April, where she says, yeah, like Maria, yeah, my body, my choice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then April says, I felt like they had all their facts straight because COVID was man-made. Well, there's a controversy behind that too.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, but it all falls down to the government trying to say what we can and cannot do with our bodies.
Oh yeah, they were trying to mandate it. I remember, like, there were certain places that when things started to open up again, they were like, you can't enter here unless you've had your shot. And then it got to a point where they were like, no, we can't do that, because then everybody's gonna have to come in here with their fucking card and be like, got my shot. And I mean, like, anybody, I've seen the cards, anybody could just go out and like take somebody else's card and be like, I got the shot.
Yeah, I'm thankful that we're past that.
I'm thankful we're past that too. I do believe that maybe it was just, there's just so much controversy behind it. I really feel like it was just another flu and another way for them to get us riled up about shit. Yes,
I think, yeah.
COVID, but a lot of people die from the flu. And all of those people that die from the flu have underlying conditions. They have pre-existing conditions, okay? Like, if you're having breathing problems already and then you get the flu, yeah, you're gonna have a hard time breathing and you could die. So yeah, that's
the point. The point is okay. So like, I'll ask you, Faith. Like, what advice would you give to somebody that is struggling with, should I do this or should I do that? Should I listen to what the news is telling me? Should I listen to what these doctors are telling me? What advice would you personally give to somebody that just, they're asking questions and they're not sure, because there are no finger pointing. There's no finger pointing.
Yes, ask questions, but do research. That's that's as simple as that. You can't really believe
and then decide for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just believe one source. If you're going to go into something like that, and yes, I definitely do believe that if you're going to go and put something into your body, it's something you should do research on. So definitely go through and pull out like 10 or 15 even sources, maybe not that much. I like to have solid evidence and proof, but just pull out a lot of sources. Do your research. That's all it is. Do your reading. Don't take somebody else's word for it, because
right.
And
you also realize that when you are doing research, that if you don't look at both sides of the research, because you will find that there is research to support,
especially with topics like that, there is
one or the other.
It's a very opinionated subject. So there, and you would have to read the cons and the pros of it.
You have to read both, because that's just like, there is so much research to support getting a vaccine. There's so much research to support not getting a vaccine. There is so much research that tells you what COVID is. There's a lot of research that says COVID isn't what COVID is. So unless you are specific, you have to really weigh both sides of an argument, because if you don't, you're only going to get one side of it. So in order to make a very informed decision, and these are important decisions that the media and other people that are pushing one side are expecting people to make these important decisions. But if you don't have all the facts, it comes down to what is best for you. Do you agree?
Yeah. One thing I can say about COVID is the only thing that I've ever experienced out of any illness I've ever had, COVID is the one that, like, I could agree is a little bit mutant. I could say that, yeah, because
it's mutating all the time.
When I got COVID, okay, what I mean by mutant is like it's very different from any other illness I've ever had. I lost my sense of smell and my sense of taste, and I still the first time I had COVID, this was from the very first time that I got tested and found out I had COVID. This was over 2 years ago. And I am still slowly gaining back all of my tastes and my smell back.
Yeah.
It took so long. And I couldn't taste anything, I couldn't smell anything, and it was the worst. It was the worst, because you really don't understand how much you rely on your nose for things.
Yes, I know. Yes.
And then when I did start smelling again and tasting again, like right now I'm having this problem with like anything artificial that I will go to eat, I can taste that it's not real. Like if I go eat chocolate, like for example, like Nestle chocolate, tastes like crap. It tastes like crap. It doesn't taste normal like I remember it tasting. And but if I go to eat something like Dove chocolate, one that tastes like chocolate. It tastes like actual chocolate. But there are chocolates and like certain sweets out there that if I eat them, they do not taste how they used to taste in my head. And it's so weird to me. It's so fucking weird that only the real things. Like if I eat a strawberry right now, like a raw strawberry, it will taste exactly how it is supposed to taste to me. But if I go and eat something that is strawberry flavored, it does not taste strawberry flavored. It tastes like crap.
I know. Tell me. And you know, okay, now this is something that I've just been thinking about. One of the early symptoms of there are many, but one of the early symptoms they say it's kind of an idiosyncraticity type thing, is for Alzheimer's, is whether you can actually smell strawberries. So thinking about that right there, my mind is thinking about early onset Alzheimer's, dementia, because COVID is, if it was man-made, you know what I mean? It's like, what was the aim of that?
It was something
Why would
our
you
head,
know? I mean,
because I remember that very first day that I had it, I couldn't move. I could not get up off the couch. It was so bad. Everything in my head just felt like I had like so much pressure down on my body. My whole body hurt. My whole body hurt. It felt like everything, like people were just, it felt like people were just grabbing my muscles and beating the shit out of them, hitting them with a Mack truck. That's what it felt like.
yeah. Yeah, we were discussing it this morning about the people that actually had COVID, I think, before it was ever talked about. Like, I think I had it in November, and I
Yeah.
think Bob had it in December. And then come January, it's like everybody's getting COVID, and then they've identified this new virus, and then they shut the country down. But we're pretty sure that we had it like the end of November, like around Thanksgiving,
Yeah. I
Christmas.
think it was one of those. Girl, come here.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I think there is a lot of controversy on the different types of vaccines that were produced in that time, because now Moderna is like under it's being scrutinized for there are some possible effects from the vaccine. Now, I don't remember which one Taylor had, but she has not had any issues whatsoever. But yet my parents have both, like Earl has had clotting, and that was one of the things that was associated with the, I believe he had Moderna. I forget which one he had. Maybe it was Johnson and Johnson. Whichever one didn't have a second series, that's the one he had, and he had clotting, like major clotting. And he didn't have anything like that beforehand. So it's like, and then we both remember our friend Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
He had the vaccine and he died from COVID. So, I mean, and he was young. He was young. He's a very good friend of mine, and he died from COVID. There's so much about COVID. It's hard to state facts only because there's just not enough
Evidence
facts about it.
enough.
You know, you can go to the CDC and find out a lot, but
Yeah. But even
doctors are like contradicting each other and the things that they say. My mind goes all sorts of places, and it's a big, it's like I don't want to say anything because it is just an opinion. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, these are all things that are just highly speculated, and it's all just opinions and theories.
yeah, exactly. But I don't see, I wouldn't, it's not something that I would want to like point my finger at somebody for not doing something or for doing something, because I feel like what's the reason to call someone out over their beliefs over something that there's just not enough facts? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to just push the whole COVID stuff out, phase it out of my brain. That's a lot of energy, man. There's so much behind it that you just
Believe
don't
it.
possibly fucking know.
Right.
Wow.
Right. So, and then like for myself, that's what I did. And I made the decision for myself. I went straight to the CDC website and looked at all the statistics that had been reported there. And to me, it wasn't enough for me to say, oh, I'm going to get it. But Taylor got it, and she's been perfectly fine.
I'm not getting it.
I have no plan on getting it. And I had COVID back in November of 2020, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it was 2019. Yeah, because it was 2020 that they shut the world down. And I hardly ever get sick, period. But if I do, it's something that I take vitamins every day, you know.
I really feel like them shutting everything down was one of the dumbest things they could have done.
Carol says, this has been fascinating, ladies, but I have to go. Faith, you're a beautiful woman, and it's been an absolute pleasure listening to you.
Thank
I
you.
love you, Carol.
Nice talking to you all, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maria says, all this has brought me closer to my spiritual life. I'm more interested now in my spiritual development, and I'm not looking at the fear mongering anymore. Absolutely. Yes. See, that is a big, it's like all the things that the world has gone through in the last couple of years. That's what it's make me want to do.
Yeah. It's such just oh my god. I can't tell you how much relief and how much it is literally forcing me to get up and try to get my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Getting off social media, getting away from all of that stuff is forcing me now to get a life and get out there and you know, and like working, making money, doing my appointments, getting myself taken care of, my daughter taken care of, and focusing on that and staying true to myself and to others. This is just helping me day by day, little by little, stay sane, and and it's helping me not use all of my energy on things that and subjects and topics that take up a lot of your energy, because you will, man. You ever argue with someone or you hear something that like just right after hearing it you're just instantly like, dude, I want to go to bed. It's because it takes energy out of you physically.
It does take energy to debate, to judge someone else.
And they have proven that when you feel sadness, it actually literally breaks your heart. So if you're going to tell me that it can do that and it's not taking your energy, it's taking your energy, bud. It is.
Yeah, I think we know ourselves better than anyone else pointing the finger at us, think they know us.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We're all individuals. I mean, we are, I believe, connected consciously, but we're all individuals that make up a whole. And if we were all the same, what would we learn from that?
Yeah. Well, for one, it's you already know what your morals are. You already know what your gut's going to say about a certain situation. And I believe you should always go with your gut. But there is a difference between your gut and your want of something. So yes, you're always going to know what you want in life. If somebody comes to you with something, you have to be able to compromise with them as well. It's one that I have struggled with, you know, where like,
I agree.
You really want to do this one thing because of what your gut's saying.
Right.
But you really shouldn't.
It's like coexisting, maybe? Is that what you're trying, like coexisting with someone who may not be on the same page, or?
Yeah, you got to be able to compromise on stuff.
Yeah. And I think inevitably it is because, why would you want the person that challenges you, say, somebody that you love deeply or whatever, your partner?
That is because you see the things that you do not see in yourself and that person.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
That is what you strive for.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I've come to that conclusion is because most of the people I've been with are skinny.
You're so funny.
I strive to be that.
Daddy ate all my wood.
Good job.
Well, Faith, I'm thinking, my daughter gets on my podcast with me quite a bit.
Yes.
So we definitely go down those rabbit holes. Yeah, we do this. It's just a bunch of banter. Two people that got opinions. But I'm thinking we'll cut this one off, and then maybe I'll have you back on, Faith, for a live chat on maybe a specific topic that has to do with spiritual and going down rabbit holes and stuff. And because I know that you have a very unique way of looking at things, and it's beautiful, And I think we're going to get off here. Is there anything you want to say, honey?
Thank you for having me, and this has been really lovely. And if you guys want to hear more of us just sitting here going back and forth on different topics, then this is the place to be. Podcasts are the place to be. I do not have my own channel or anything like that. I do plan eventually to get one. It's just I've got a lot going on in my life right now, and when I can find the time to get on and do all that, then I definitely want to, because I find this so fascinating, so fun. It's actually kind of stress relieving to just sit down and be able to talk about your experiences and your thoughts and beliefs on something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you everyone for all the really nice positive energy. I enjoy a lot. And I hope you all have a really wonderful day, and you are all just as beautiful.
Aw. I love you, sissy.
I love you, Mama.
And I concur everything that she just said. I really appreciate you guys showing up today. It was wonderful, and I'm glad you got to meet my daughter, because I know I talk about her a lot. And I have 3, and they are all very different. But yes, they all have different opinions on stuff, and so I get to hear all these, how they feel and stuff. So that's, if you wonder why I'm such a mediator, this is why. I stay open to everything. So I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day, and I'm hoping Faith is coming over.
Yes, I do plan on. I got a couple things I got to do real quick, and then
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to have Gerald from Tarot Stash, and we're gonna get to know Gerald.
Fun.
Oh yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.